Hello, my name is Jared Woodfill and I'm chairman of the Harris County Republican Party. As many of you know, the Texas legislature will be meeting in just a few weeks, January 13th. The Harris County Republican Party has passed a 10-point plan of priority items for this legislative session. First and foremost, we must eliminate the blocker bill. Many of you are probably asking yourself, what's the blocker bill? Well, it's a little-known procedural device that is used by the minority to thwart the will of the majority. Here's how it works. In Texas, we currently have 19 Republican senators. The blocker bill requires the votes of 21 to get any legislation considered and then passed. What that means is, in order to get good legislation passed, Republican senators must garner the support of some of their Democratic colleagues. Effectively, this means one of two things. Republicans have to water down conservative legislation to pass a bill, or the minority dictates the agenda for the majority. If the people wanted the minority to govern, they would have given them the majority. Instead, the blocker bill is the quickest way for the majority of Republicans to become the minority. Failing to pass legislation that they campaigned upon is the quickest way to the minority. If our founding fathers or the people of this state wanted a supermajority, they could have put a supermajority in the state constitution, either originally or in the form of an amendment. So you might be asking yourself, what legislation has been killed by the blocker bill? Well, just go back to last legislative session. In the State House, an overwhelming majority of legislators passed a photo ID bill. If you go back to 2003, the House passed appraisal caps, but it failed in the Senate due to the blocker bill. One particular part of the resolution says, resolved, that the SREC strongly urges the Texas Senate to take whatever steps are necessary to pass conservative legislation over the opposition of the Democrat minority, including consideration of discontinuing the use of the Rose-Bush blocker bill rule if necessary, and be it resolved that if outright elimination of the Rose-Bush blocker bill rule does not appear to be able to be passed by the Texas Senate in its initial caucuses and meetings, that the SREC strongly urges that the Texas Senate, at the very least, change the Rose-Bush blocker bill rule by reducing the 2/3 requirement to 60%, which is an equivalent percentage of the 60% cloture rule in the United States Senate. Many of you are probably asking, what can I do? Well, I cannot overemphasize the importance of a letter, a phone call, an email, letting your duly elected representative, in this case your senator, know exactly how you feel about the blocker bill. Please call them, write them, or email and tell them that the blocker bill has to go. Please let your voice be heard, and we can make a difference this session.